It's been 9 years today since 9,000 people were killed in a powerful earthquake in Nepal. One of them was the brother of Australian Som Tamang. Since the quake, Som has been fundraising to help rebuild the village where his family lives. Som Tamang joins us now from Kathmandu in Nepal. Som, welcome. What's it like to be back in Nepal to see the progress of the aid money that you have raised?
Look, it feels great to think about what I seen 9 years ago, and after that, as I seen when I arrived this week, it's a huge difference with the buildings and the kids going to school. It feels good.
Yeah, we're just seeing some images now from back in 2015, bringing back those memories of just how devastating that earthquake was. So just talk us through the practical things that have happened in your village as a result of the money raised here in Australia because of what you've done and your work.
Because of the money being raised in Australia, we have managed to pull back the hostel to now in a good condition. Everything damaged was able to rebuild, and not only just rebuild, because of the regulation has changed to what it was before the earthquake. We've been able to build and rebuild the buildings that was damaged, or the new building, to be able to hold the next earthquake, the one it struck 9 years ago.
And you mentioned the buildings, you mentioned a hostel, so there is a hostel that's been built. Who is the hostel for? And there are buildings in a school as well?
Yeah, this building holds 26 students now. All of these students come from diverse background, and they are living in the safe home. And mainly these children are girls, and mainly it is girls because we are preventing the girls being taken away from villages to bigger cities for all kind of slavery or prostitution, or over into India and Middle East countries.
Yeah, because that is kind of what happened to you, wasn't it? Talk us through your journey from being in your village in Nepal to ending up in Australia.
I constantly remind young children in the classrooms, and also the children that we have in the hostel, the situation, how it was for me 30 years ago. And I always remind them how lucky they are, and they need to appreciate what they have right now because of the work that I've been putting together, and because of all the Australian people have been sponsoring the project and donating money for the project, and sponsoring many children who are in the hostel, or they are on a scholarship program to stay with their siblings, with their families, and go to school, Joe.
Yeah, and can you tell us how you ended up in slavery and what you were forced to do, and how you ended up being in Australia?
Yeah, I went through some situation I would describe it as I have witnessed and I have experienced all kind of abuse, assault, slavery. You can imagine in the childhood, because I came to Kathmandu when I was just past 10 years of age, and trapped into the rich people's house to clean their house and clean their dishes after their dinner. And then slowly onwards, as I grow old, I worked in brick factories, working in the building construction sites, and then later in my teenage years, I also ended up in India in looking for a job, but then I became trapped in whole different area of slavery.
And because of your experience as a child from this village in Nepal, you want to ensure that you provide the children in that village now with as many opportunities as possible to avoid what happened to you?
That's right. When I left my village, Joe, I just knew that I knew I couldn't do myself, but I knew I could do for others. Started with my brothers and sisters, and one of the brother I lost 9 years ago on very day yesterday, today, like these days in the earthquake. And my brother Amber, who was the first ever graduate university student in my village, who actually died during the earthquake. And also my sister and other siblings that I promised myself I'll make sure they go to school and I work for them. And that continued on for many other children like those in the hostel right now.
And Som, you mentioned your brother Amber who died in the earthquake 9 years ago. Is there anything special you do to remember him when you visit Nepal?
No, I don't, and it's a Nepalese culture. Once people die, they rarely talk about, and that's been within my family. And my family and myself, we didn't discuss too much about the death and earthquake. My team here, who's look after the children in the hostel, none of us talked about too much or talked about doing something because of the death of my brother. So that's the culture, and I'm just following. It might be just a way to hide your sadness and a loss, but that's how we've been dealing at the moment and by this stage.
Yeah, and just very briefly, what are your continuing plans for your village?
Look, ever since I started helping journey to my brothers and sisters, I say to myself, I promise to help my brothers and sisters to overcome this poverty and this uneducated situation. Continually, I extended to their friends, then extended to helping more children from entire village, then started the hostel in town nearby, then I talked to my community, and we started upgrading the school that you saw on the video earlier. We started upgrading that school and rebuilding to bigger building. And from no school to when I left after grade 5, now we have a high school in Nepal, which is grade 10. And I always said that I would stop in grade 6, then I continued to grade 8, then I thought I stopped. Then it came to grade 10, where I thought I was gonna stop, but then now community wants to continue my effort, and we have just close to 300 students, because many students from all around the village come to this school. But then after grade 10 to complete 11 and 12, they have to go into Kathmandu or further away into bigger town. So I have a hope that I can bring their dream to a reality. Once it was my dream to complete to grade 11 and 12. So that's my plan.
Okay, Som Tamang, good on you for the work you have done, and it's been so good having a chat to you. Thanks so much for talking to us from Nepal.
Thank you so much for everyone in Australia for supporting Friends of Himalayan Children and sponsoring children, and thank you so much for ABC. Thank you very much.
Som Tamang there in Nepal.